Hi folks, welcome to another Craig's hack for Tableau and for Alteryx today. So what we're seeing here is a COVID-19 viz showing some active cases, and the reason I got that up there is because I, like a couple of billion other people right now, are currently in lockdown. It's not Monday the March the 3rd, it's more like April 20, well it was yesterday. And this is a whole lot of COVID-19 data that's being played with around the world by a whole bunch of Tableau enthusiasts, and today I would like to take you to the source of that data, show you how to quickly grab it, pull it down into Alteryx and get it ready to put into a viz a bit like this one. So the data is coming from the Johns Hopkins Hospital and University in Baltimore, and they have been kind enough every day since the 22nd of January to put together a file that looks a bit like this in terms of what country, what region or province, and the number of confirmed cases, number of deaths, and the number of recovered cases. Now that schema has evolved over time, and you can see by the time we get to most recent files here, we've got have a lot more columns coming to us. We can see in here, if we scroll all the way to the bottom and use this silly scroll bar and spin the scroll all the way back to the top, we can see that we've got latitudes and longitudes, we've got some active, we've got some keys, and so on. So let's get a hold of all of those files and see how we can deal with all the intricacies. One of the things that I will point out is if we go back to this one of these early files and we have a look at the column headers. Notice there's a forward slash in there instead of an underscore in some of them. We better watch out for that one. So let's have a look at what this actually looks like raw. So the raw file here you can see is actually just a comma separated file. Pretty simple. And what I really want to do is pull each of these files down to my local computer and then start to do some unioning and massaging them all. I could download them one at a time and then do that manually myself, but let's see if we can come up with a better way than that. So I'll just leave that one there and just notice the URL there. There's a URL that shows us that CSV, so that's a bit of a clue. We might try and just grab the first part of this URL and we'll see if we can make use of that in our workflow. So this is the Alteryx toolset. If you haven't seen this before, it's a drag and drop data preparation low coding solution. So before I go any further, I'd just firstly like to acknowledge Jonathan Cavalieri, who is one of our data schoolers who was in the very first cohort, and he put together a workflow that did just this, and what I'm about to show you pretty much repeats what he's come up with. And for the purpose of demonstration, I was going to rebuild what he came up with. So first of all, I'm going to insert a text input, and over here I'm just going to call this one the URL folder, and we're just going to paste the data in there. And then we're going to decide how we bolt onto the back of that. I'll just put a browse tool on there so we can see what that looks like. So this particular piece of text here, what we need to do is add on the end of those every one of those CSV files. So without having to type all those dates in again, I'm going to use another tool here called Generate Rows. I'm going to generate all those dates. So I'm going to call this one raw date. I'm going to make it a date data type. And the initial expression is going to be, let's start with the 2020 the January 22, and we're going to now do a conditional expression. So we want all the dates up to today. So I'm going to build that in an expression editor here. So I'm going to say that the raw date has to be less than the today's date. So luckily enough we have a date time today function there. So, and we want that to loop around by adding a day to each of the dates. So again, we're going to build that up in a date expression. So we want to have a function which is adding a date time add. So if we add the to the raw date an interval of 1 day, days, and we should be able to again, we put a browse tool on that one so we can have a bit of a look at what's going on there. Run that one, and now we can see we've got a whole bunch of days, 90 days in fact. Wow, it's been a while. So what we now want to do is put those two things together. So an append tool is kind of like a cross join, just gives me that will be applied to every row there if I drag that on there. And let's just have a quick look what that looks like. Yeah, so why have we got 2 rows of data here? Ah, there's an empty row here. Let me delete that row. Try that again. That's better. So let's see if we can start building some formulas to put some file that on the end of that with the CSV. So let me use a formula tool for that one, and I'm going to start off with a file name column, and I'm going to use the raw date plus a .csv, and we're going to delete that as a string, and then we're going to have we're going to need a file path column. So we're going to decide that raw folder, which is going to be the URL folder plus the file name. Alright, and that'll be essentially our URL that we go and grab, and we're going to decide where we want to put it. So let's add another column and call this one the save location, and let's save it in C drive. I've just got this temporary folder here, and let's just put the actual file name again, same file name in there, and that should give us the raw data that we need. Let's have a look at that one. So that'll be the file path. You can see that one there. We'll just browse that one. Let's just give that one a test run. Put that into our browser. That's going to work. What have we done wrong there? Oh yes, I can see we've got the file in proper date format instead of the month, day, year format. So that's easy fixed. Let's go back in here and add a file date. So there's a date function that'll give me a quick, I want to turn that date into a string. Let's put it in as month, date, year, and we'll call this one a file date. And we better go and use that in here instead of raw date. Let's see if we can give that a go. That looks more like it. Let's pop that in here and test it out. Test it in this one. Aha, there we go, success. Alright, so next step. Let's download all those files. So I'm going to grab a download tool here, and what I want to download is the file path. And we want to download it to a file, and we want to put it into the save location. Let's give that a go, and now Alteryx is going to go off, grab each one of those CSVs. You can see they're all downloading, and in a number of seconds we'll now see them appear in our folder. So there they all are. A few seconds later we've got 90 odd files to work with. So let's drag one of these files in to a new workflow. So we'll park that one for now, and what we'll do is we'll grab that latest file, we'll pop it in here, we'll add a select tool, and put a browse on the end of it, and we'll run that, see what happens. Aha, so we've got a whole bunch of data, it's nice and clean, separated with a comma. And what we might even do is just say, hey, we will also want the file name here. So we'll give it a file name only. And when we see that come in, now we actually have the file name over on the end. So let's do the reverse of what we did before. Let's turn that one back into a date. So we'll go over here and we want to convert a string to a date, and we want to convert the file name. And it is currently in month. Where is it? Day, year, that's the one. And we're going to have to call this one just date. See if that one's worked. Nope. Why didn't that one work? Oh, fips. No, it's file name. Try that again. There we go, we can see the old string date and then the new proper date. And let's just have a look at our select tool now. Make sure we've got the right data types. So we can see that that date is a date, but we need to probably work on some of these other things. So we'll get rid of the stuff that we don't even need. Fips admin, not really interested in those. We'll keep the Latin long, but we'll make those numbers. We'll use a double because it's a decimal point. Confirmed, deaths, and recovered. I might just change all of those to into 32s. And active, we noticed that there wasn't an active in some of those files, so we better work out our own active for some of those early dates. Let's not worry about a key. We could probably ditch the file name now, and we'll just keep the date, keep it nice and clean. So let's have a look at what we're going to do next. Let's go and add that formula to give ourselves some active cases. So the active cases, or before we do that, we better just clean this data up and make sure that some of those zeros are actually going to turn into nulls. I was getting in trouble here. So this clean tool here will allow me to clean up a lot of those numbers. So let's make sure that we kill off trailing spaces, replace zeros with nulls, and that's a nice little macro, that data cleansing macro that will get us a long way there. Hey, but remember that little problem we raised before about the headers here having slashes in some of the files. Notice this file here doesn't. We've got a province underscores. So what we might do here is we might do a rename of anything with a forward slash in it, or replace it with a underscore in any of these columns if that happens. And the good news is we have a tool for that. It's called dynamic rename. Let's pop it in here, there, and we'll say for the current field we want to do a replace. I didn't even spell it right. Replace the current field, so anything with a forward slash we're going to replace with an underscore. Now we probably can't test that now because these fields don't have it in there. Oops, what have we done wrong there? Forward slash underscore. Oh, I've got to say which field I want to do it in. So let's do it in all. Alright, so the next thing I think we're ready to push this data. We want more than just one file though. How do we get a whole bunch of these files? Well, the good news is we're going to turn this into a macro. So the way that I do that is I go up to this palette up here, I grab a control parameter, and I just drag that into here and say, when I feed in a whole lot of dates in here, I want to update this value here. So I'm going to bring in that particular file name. I might even call it file name. And when we output this data, we're going to do a macro output. and we're going to just leave that as it is. So now we know that this workflow is actually going to be saved as a batch macro. So we'll just do a save as, and we'll pop that in the same folder or file for now, and we'll call it COVID data 3. And now that's ready to be used in this workflow. So what we might do is just insert this macro here. You can't quite see what I'm doing here off the screen, but there's a COVID data 3 macro that's very hard to insert. I'm going to press the tab. There we go. So let's move that over here, drag that on there. It's going to now ask me what field I want to choose for my file name, and I believe it is file name, and we're going to output this one. So let's output this one as a hyperfile. So I just want to put that into the temp C / COVID 19.hyper. It probably already exists. We're going to make it unique. Alright, let's give that a run now. So you would think grabbing 90 files, CSV files, ripping them down across the internet and doing a bit of jiggery pokery on them and pushing them out to a file, it would not take long, but yes, we're getting error messages. I know what's happening there. See how it says the field schema. So you'll notice some of these files have got different columns in them and so on. We have to let Alteryx know that that's okay. So we'll just do open up our interface window here, which is Interface Designer. We go into the little settings here. Here it is. So all iterations must have the same output. Error. If not, we don't want that. We want to use this one. So we'll save that one. Go back to our workflow. It's now going to tell us that our macros change. Yep, let's run that again now. And I think 4 or 5 seconds later, we should now have a hyperfile that's ready to go. 5.6 seconds, in fact. Hang on a second, we forgot to do the active cases. So let's go back in here. We've got an empty formula tool. Let's call this one active cases, and these ones are the confirmed cases less the deaths less the recovered, I think it's called, recovered. Make that an int32. We'll save that one, and as quick as you like, we'll run this one again. And we're going to open that one up. There you go, we can see got all those columns in there. We've got a couple of different latitudes and longitudes, which could probably do with a bit of merging. And let's go and have a look. So we've got a lot of countries, a lot of regions, and looking pretty good. We've got an active cases, all happening in the US and in Europe, a bit of Turkey, and Iran, of course. And we've got let's do a ranked list of active cases, put on a label. You can see not 10 million cases. There is actually we'll do a relative date. Let's have a look at what yesterday looks like. There you go, that looks about right. And let's have a quick look at a timeline. Continuous date timeline of active cases. Looks like this. And that's our logarithmic growth curve. Let's have a look at that on a logarithmic scale. Kind of see that a bit better now. There's the China uptick. In fact, we'll put that on country on detail there. Put that on label the ends. Well, most recent. You can see that there's the US way up there, and there's mainland China and China. Okay, that sounds like we need to do a bit of massaging there. But let's do a a wildcard filter. Search for China. That's because it's the most recent date. Let's group these guys. Call them China. And I know the same thing happens with the Korea. That's right, South Korea and a South Korea. Need grouping and aliasing. And I think Russia is the same. But I won't bore you with all of that. Let's just have a quick look at our timeline here now. Let's maybe just have a look at let's do a set of the top 10 by active cases. And we'll use that one. Just get us 10 and we'll use the region group instead of region. Does that work? So we've got China. Where's the rest of China? Oh, I see. It's now out of the other top 10. So anyway, you get the picture. We get the ability to grab this data into maps, into ranked lists, and we've got a timeline, and we can put together something that looks a bit like this. So if we go back into the beginning of our timeline, we can now play it forward and see China getting quite a lot of cases, and then South Korea and Italy being next. Italy didn't deal with it as well as South Korea did. A lot of European countries coming into the frame there. Australia starts to get some cases as to some of the other bigger countries around the world, until we now see China's active cases ramping right down. US started going ballistic. Italy, Spain and Germany and France, the cohort of European countries here are starting to level out, and we now see the big countries of Bangladesh and India and Indonesia as well starting to really ramp up. So watch this space. So hopefully you enjoyed that little demonstration of how to get your data out of the GitHub repository from the John Hopkins dataset, and using Alteryx and download tool to quickly put it into a shape ready for visualization. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great day.